All right. Good evening. My name is Dafna Adler, and I'm one of the counselors at Los Altos High School. And I am really excited to present to you a workshop about Common App supplement essays as part of our Countdown to College evening. So thanks for hanging with me at the very end. And hopefully this will be a really helpful topic for you. So Common App, the Common App has the main essay, which most students who are getting ready to apply are starting to be familiar with. However, there are also what we call supplement essays, and these are sometimes kind of swept under the rug a little bit, or sometimes students don't even know about them until they're well into the process, or they're thought of as sort of an afterthought, and a lot of people are like really focused on the main essay and spending lots of time on that, which students need to do, and aren't thinking so much about these ones. And so we wanted to offer this workshop to help families understand that this is actually a really important part of the process as well. So what is a supplement essay? Maybe you have heard this term, maybe not. So as I mentioned, in addition to the main essay, some colleges and universities will require or request additional essays from applicants. And these might be optional, they might be required. Not all colleges require them. I would encourage you to not think of them as optional, even if they say that, because it's like a missed opportunity to share information with colleges. So I'm going to discuss a lot of different aspects of that in this presentation. And then at the end, we'll do questions. So put your questions into the chat. So whereas the main Common App essay goes to all colleges that a student applies to through Common App. So the student writes one main one that's 650 words that goes to every single Common App school on a student's Common App list. These are individual to a specific college. They are only sent to that college, not to the other colleges. They may be short or long. There may be one or multiple ones. They may feel really easy. Some of them may feel really hard. So it really does vary, and it's important to look into them and give yourself time to work on these. And I'll show you a number of reasons why that is in the next half hour. So why are these important, right? You are already writing so many essays, right? Why do more? So as students are aware, many colleges are very selective, and they are trying to choose amongst a lot of really qualified students. So you want to take every possible opportunity to tell them more about you and to help yourself stand out on your application in various ways. So this is another way that you can do that. Through these essays, colleges are trying to determine things like how much you know about that school, have you researched it, if you're going to be a good fit in their school community, how your mind works, depending on what they ask you. They're trying to get to see, like, how do you think about stuff, what your values are, what are you passionate about. And they want to know that you've put the same level of effort into these as those main essays, because these are not throwaway essays. Hopefully that point is getting across super clear. So what do these mean? In the main essay, you're going to be choosing between like 6 essay topics or an open-ended essay topic. And these ones are again more targeted to that specific school. So you're going to want to pay attention to the type of questions that they ask, because it gives you clues about things like the school's core values, the kind of things they want to learn about you in this process, and the type of peers that you might be surrounded by. It tells you a lot about their school culture. And I'm going to show you some examples of the types of things that they ask. How many do you have to write? That is one of the golden questions. So this is where your decision making really comes into play. It is really important to go about choosing where you apply, thinking about balance, which your counselor is definitely talking with you about throughout this process, and intentionality. Because if you are applying to 25 colleges on Common App, and even if they don't all have supplements, what if 17 of them do? Think about that. You are a senior in high school, you're already doing your main Common App essay, all your applications, maybe you're doing UC essays or other things. Oh, hey, here's 17 other essays, have fun. That's a lot, right? On top of your senior coursework and homecoming and activities and all the other things in your life. So it's very important to plan this out carefully so that you are not overwhelmed with these, because at a certain point, if you are rushing to meet deadlines, you're just like writing whatever you possibly can on your application, and you don't have enough bandwidth to give every essay the attention that it needs. And that can damage your application because, as I was saying before, they want to see that you really put effort into these. So it's really important not to drown yourself in too many of these. And you can, I'll talk a little bit about how to know which schools have them in a moment. Also, another thing to minimize the work is you're going to find that there might be some overlap in the topics. We'll go over some common topics in a moment, and you may be able to kind of recycle some material that you write. You do have to be careful with that. But sometimes if a topic is more about you versus about the school, you can sometimes recycle or adapt if questions are similar, and you might be able to do that. Which is helpful. All right. So where do you find these, right? There's a couple of main ways to do it. You can, as a student, create your Common App account even before your senior year. In fact, we encourage you to do that anyway, so that you can start to put in your information. And once you add colleges to your list, you can then view their supplement essays. Do keep in mind, if you are a junior now, and some of you, I don't know that there is anybody younger than that, but if you are, you can look ahead, but colleges can and do sometimes change their questions. And so that may not happen until kind of more in the summer. So if you're a junior, don't start writing these now, but you can just get a sense of the types of things they ask. And a lot of times they won't change, but they can. And so you don't want to spend your time writing an essay that you end up not using. Another way to do it is really just Google. You can Google, X University Supplement Essays 2022. There are also some other pretty good websites and blogs out there. Like if you're at all familiar with the College Essay Guy, he has some really excellent resources for essay brainstorming. And for some universities, he does actually have a breakdown of how to approach some of the supplements at specific schools. So many ways to find out. All right. Okay, so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of like, what do these mean? Why do we do them? How many? Now the kind of the meat of the presentation is, what are they asking you? What are you going to be writing about? So some really common supplement topics in recent years. Why us? I will talk more about that in a moment. Why do you want to go to that school? Why are you interested in your major? Sometimes you'll find questions that are those two things combined. What we are seeing a lot in the past couple of years are questions around community, diversity, inclusion, identity. With a lot of the social change upheaval of the past couple of years, a lot of colleges are really examining themselves in terms of diversity and inclusion, and therefore they want to see that students who are coming in are also thinking about those things and engaging in their current community with those things. And so if you are hearing that going, oh, I haven't really thought about that, or I haven't had to engage with that in my life very much, that is something that you want to stop and pause on right now and think about, like things you might talk about with friends who come from different backgrounds than you and learn more about their experiences, or how can you engage more with people who are different than you and support people in your community. And I'll show you a sample of one of those in a moment. Other ones, philosophical or academic opinions. So there are some schools, I've seen this a lot with some of the Jesuit universities, where they will have kind of a pretty intellectual or philosophical topic, and they want to know your opinion on that, or how would you handle a hypothetical moral or ethical situation, things like that. Personal interests, something you geek out on. They may ask you, what's your favorite book or movie or song? Why, or what does it reflect about you, things like that. Those are kind of fun. Another big topic is like experiences of personal growth. And that can look a lot of different ways. There may be other ones. These are just some of the common ones that are popping up these days, but they can ask like really anything that they want to know about you. And some of them are really fun topics. I actually really like some of these a lot. Okay, so I mentioned a moment ago the why us. This is very important. Many schools ask some version of why do you want to come here? Why do you want to study this major at this school? What do you like about our campus, etc.? So these are just 3 examples, and there are like a whole bunch of different versions of this. But for example, Boston University asks, what about being a student at BU most excites you? Tufts wants to know which aspects of the Tufts undergraduate experience prompt your application. University of Michigan, describe the unique qualities that attract you to the specific undergraduate college or school to which you are applying at University of Michigan. How would that curriculum support your interests? So you can see 3 really different takes, slightly different nuanced questions, but all getting at the heart of that is, why do you want to come here? How do you see yourself fitting in here? So you want to really think about that, because having a vague answer to that is not going to be helpful. And we'll talk in a moment about like research and where you find information, because you really want to show them that you understand as much as is possible as a high school student, what it would be like to go there, and why does it fit for you? An example of the diversity or identity question, a lot of our students apply to University of Colorado Boulder. The question that they've had for the past couple of years is, at CU Boulder, no 2 buffs are alike. Buffs are their mascot. No 2 buffs are alike. We value difference and support equity and inclusion of all students and their many intersecting identities. Pick one of your unique identities and describe its significance. That is like a really big question. And if you've not thought about this, like, what is my place in my communities? What sort of diversity do I contribute? Am I aware of other people's diversity? Am I inclusive of people who are different than me? It's really important to think about this, and really not just for essays. Like, it's a great thing to be thinking about in general as a person about to enter adulthood world. But strictly speaking, for the purpose of these essays, you are likely to come across this type of topic. So again, you want to be reflecting on like, how do I engage with this type of topic? So for this one, they're using the term identities. Like, what is an identity of yours? That can be so many things. It can be cultural, ethnic, racial, religious, sexual orientation. It could be I am a scientist, I'm a chef, I am a baseball player, I'm an artist, I'm a builder. So many ways that you can define that. So it doesn't one thing, it's whatever that means for you. So that can be a really fun, creative type of question. All right. What should you write about? So that is a good question as well. Many of the same principles apply here as they would to the Common App and the UC. So this is tough, because as a high school student, you've had 16 to 17 years of life experience so far. So you've had like a slew of the activities you're going to have, or experiences, excuse me, you're going to have in your life, right? Many of you have.
I just think woman.
If somebody's is unmuted, if you can please mute yourselves. Thank you. If you think about your experiences within your life, many of you may have pretty.
And then I just think the relationship for me, it just comes along with the emotion.
Whoever's unmuted, can you please mute yourself? We can hear your conversation. Thank you. As a high school student, you have had a fairly limited amount of life experience to this point. Some people more, some people less. Some of your experiences may be similar, right? So within your life, let's say you're an athlete, you've had experiences of like the big game, or maybe you were injured and you overcame that injury, or maybe you struggled in Algebra 2 honors and you got to a point where you figured out how to master it, or you have a part-time job and that has taught you a lot. or you traveled to a developing country for the first time and that opened your eyes to poverty and how other people live. These are all amazing experiences for any individual young person to have. So when I say this, I don't want anyone to think that I'm like invalidating any of that. The hard part about that is they're very common topics. So when you are writing your essays, and this goes for all your college essays, you want to be thinking about not only experiences that have shaped you, also ones that are unique and that few other students are likely to write about. And that is tough because you've only lived in your experience, right? And so you want to really be thinking about how many other students are likely to write about similar things. And it doesn't mean that you can't write about common things, but if you are, you want to be approaching those things from a unique type of angle, so that your essay stands out, even if you are writing about like your big track meet or an academic that challenge that you had. You want that to stand out as a unique essay to whoever is reading it. And lastly, like showcasing your best qualities. So sometimes, we're sort of told like, oh, don't brag or don't make it sound like you're like the most amazing person in the world. Well, this is the time that you do need to put yourself out there, not like in a braggy way, but find a way to talk about like, these are my best qualities. I'm putting myself out there in the world, and really think about how are you presenting yourself, and the things that you choose to write about should be showcasing positive elements of you. I could talk about this for a long time, so we'll move on from this. And then lastly here, making clear, that you have researched that school by including specific details about them in your essay. I will talk about that more in a moment in terms of website research. All right, big tip. I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of students feel like these are sort of throwaway or afterthought essays, right? A lot of students on their first shot at these will write some version of, I like this school because the campus is pretty and they have lots of student clubs and there's a good program in biology, business, English, whatever it is. This contributes pretty much nothing to your application because it doesn't say much. You can copy and paste that exact thing to any number of schools. It is super vague. It does not tell them anything about you, and it does not tell them that you have done your homework about that school. And so it just doesn't do you any good, right? It's a wasted opportunity. So that is why these take time, because you do need to write these individually targeted to each college. And so I mentioned in the beginning, you might have like 17 of these. And if you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to copy and paste, you cannot do it. They will know. The college reps that read these have read like 2 bajillion of these essays, and they have a really good sense of who is putting in the time and the effort and the authenticity into these. So these are quick and easy, right? Short answer, no, they are not. They are not. So they take a lot of time because of research. I've mentioned that a couple of times, and so I'll talk about that more now. When you are writing these, you want to help them understand that you have looked on their website more than just, the main page or 1 or 2 clicks here and there. And really, again, this is a byproduct. Writing these essays is a byproduct. You should be researching every school you apply to anyway at a deep level. You want to find the things on their website that make you like want to dive down that rabbit hole of like, oh my gosh, this school has this and has this. And if I go to this program, I have this opportunity and I can do research and I can go abroad and blah, 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 blah. And if you're applying somewhere, that should make you really excited to learn what that college has, right? And therefore you should be able to come up with a lot of good tidbits to weave into your essay. If, for example, I don't know, you're applying somewhere, like, oh, okay, I had a student who's interested in medicine and has a personal interest in cooking and nutrition. And she found, I want to say it was at Tulane. She found just by searching on their website that they have an Institute of Culinary Medicine. And it was like, what even is that? How cool. She gets to combine these cool, these 2 really cool interests that she has. And it's like, when you find that, you want to like backtrack and go, wait, how do I get to do that thing at that college? And so when you're writing these essays, those are the sorts of things that you want to refer to, that you are excited about at that school. That is going to give your essay so much depth and detail and clarity as to why you are a match for that school and they're a match for you. And then visiting a college, that's a terrific way because, and this has been extremely difficult over the past couple of years, of course, to visit as much as students are typically used to in the past. Fortunately, that's opening up again more and more. So you do the best that you can with this. If you're able to go visit, do it. A lot of colleges develop like virtual visits on their website in lieu of in-person visits, or whatever resources they have for you to visit. Take advantage of that because you will learn a lot. Okay, we're winding down on time here. How do you find the right information? This is a hard question because every website varies, but you want to be like tooling around on all the different menus on the websites. And this is especially important because some of them are going to be really, really specific. I'm going to show you one particular example that can trip students up. And you want to just kind of like dot all the I's and cross the T's here. So look at these as clues, basically. So the example I'm going to show you is University of San Diego, USD. Really popular for our students. It's a wonderful private Jesuit school in Southern California. So there they have, you have to answer like this question, and then you have a variety of other ones that you can choose as a second one to answer. So this question says, USD offers diverse educational opportunities grounded in the liberal arts and sciences. First-year students are immersed in one of our 5 learning communities with the themes reflecting the vitality of the liberal arts tradition. Advocate, collaborate, cultivate, illuminate, and innovate. Select one of these 5 themes and describe how it resonates with you and why. So if you are looking at this at just, first time looking at it, you might look at these terms and go, okay, I'm not totally sure what they mean here, but I'm an innovator. Let's just say I like science. I'm an innovator. I like to innovate things. Or I am an artist and I like to illuminate different social themes through my art, right? Those are very valid things, absolutely. However, this is very specific. The reason for that is that this is a clue of information on their website. So if you're looking at this going, am I supposed to know more about what this means? You want to look on the website. And if you're doing this in a rushed way, you don't have time for that. So again, really important to give yourself time. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. If you go to the USD website and you look at their housing, right? Because that question was about housing specifically. How do you see yourself fitting into their housing communities? They have this whole section about their learning communities. This is just a screenshot, but if you go to this webpage, down here at the bottom, I couldn't capture all of it, but you can see a few of them. If you were to click on one of these, let's say Advocate, LLC, Collaborate, Cultivate, they have 6 of these for each of the communities. You click on that, it takes you to a whole page all about that house. They have videos on there. So that is a clue that, I should dig on the website and see what the deal is with these learning communities. Okay, so this is a very specific example, but just illuminates, pun intended, to illuminates for you why you want to do that research. All right, we are almost out of time. Okay, so some best practices and tips. Remember, and this is for really kind of for all college admission in general, but specific to this topic right now, remember that this is a match to be made, not a prize. You are not winning a prize by being admitted somewhere. You are finding a match that is going to be an amazing place for you for the next step of your life and your education. Therefore, you want to be making connections in your writing to help colleges understand why you're a good fit for each other. It's not just you for them, but also them for you. What are you going to contribute there? What are you going to get out of that experience? And you want to be talking about those things in your essays. Website research, we just talked about that a lot. And again, give yourself a lot of time because they will take more time than you think. That research takes a lot of time, and then actually sitting down and figuring out what to write. Few more things. We talked about this a little bit before. Same principles that apply to the Common App and the UCPIQs, experiences that have shaped you, experiences that are unique. Remember that. That's a really, really important thing. Make it clear that you have researched the school by including specifics. Vague writing will not help you. So the thing I mentioned before about it's pretty campus, lots of clubs, etc., not helpful. Find those relevant connections between your life and your goals and what that college has to offer. You're going to discover some like really super magnificent things about these colleges if you do this depth of research. Okay, a couple last things. How do you prepare yourself? So if you are a junior right now and you are starting to think about these a little bit for about 6 months from now, I'd encourage you to start a little bit sooner than that. But what you can do right now is take an inventory of your current curriculum and your extracurricular activities. If you feel like, okay, I'm going to major in X, I'm taking these classes that relate to my major, I have a lot to talk about academically, super. If you are involved on campus or in the community in various ways, and you have a lot of things to put in your activities section, and again, material to draw from for your essays, super. You may not have to do a whole lot of extra stuff. If, however, you're looking at like where you are right now and you're like, gosh, I really haven't done that much related to my future interests or my hobbies, this is a good time to kind of go, all right, time out. I need to add some things to kind of bolster your applications. So seek out opportunities for the rest of this year and for the summer before your senior year to deepen your exposure to either your field of study, your exposure to your community, other areas of your life where you can like broaden your horizons, basically, so that you'll have more stuff to write about. And then again, how much do you know about your colleges? You want to really, really take time in the summer, in the spring if you have the bandwidth, but in the summer is a great time to set aside the time to do this research in a like kind of methodical way. All right, that was a lot of information. Any questions? We've got just a few more minutes. Any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Wait as people are typing. All right, we have a question. How many supplement essays do most colleges require? So there's not really a number. It may be one, it may be multiple ones. They may be long, they may be short, or there may be zero. So it really depends on the college. It just depends if they want to have more information or if they feel like they're going to get enough information about the student through the main Common App essay. So that's up to them, like how many they're going to ask you for. Any other questions? Give it a few more seconds and then we'll wrap up. All right, one more question. Is there a way to include an essay for CSU? No, so this presentation is not about CSU. It's about Common App supplement essays. CSUs do not take any essays whatsoever at all. No, that's a whole other like application process. Should the parents meet with the counselors to get help on the application process? So the College Career Center is going to be the best resource for essays. Counselors, unfortunately, don't have the bandwidth to do essay editing with students, but we have a lot of opportunities in the fall semester to work with the College Career Center. Our college advisor, Angela Price, meets with juniors in the current semester in the spring and seniors in the fall. And so students will have an opportunity to make appointments with them. And then also they can just drop in at lunchtime and get help with those. Yep. All right. So that is it for me for tonight. This was a lot of info. This presentation is recorded and it will be available on the College Career Center website. Please do pop in there and talk with Laura Duran or Angela Price, and they can help your students out. And I think that's it for tonight. So thanks so much and have a great evening.